debated. Here is Mars' 60th lesson out of 72. Today, the first extra biblical one. There will be 13 extra biblical lessons until your university education out of the 60 and 72. With the infinite title Invisible, Omnipresence, and Antimatter. Black light and white light. Nostalgia for those who have been from the X for many years. Our sensor responsible for capturing colors is the eyes. The eyes focus on an object. This object transmits its shape and its color back to the eyes. By the way, this is hexagrammic. They are cones that intertwine. It projects a delta upwards and then a delta downwards. The eyes, in turn, take this information to the brain. And the brain processes the information, showing us that over there, that this object is a white square. As for bats, they do not have vision like ours. So bats, as you might know, they are different. Their sensor is responsible for capturing this information. Their sensor responsible for capturing this information, it's not the eyes, it's the ears. So the bat emits a sound signal similar to a radar or submarine sonar. This sound signal hits the object transmits it back to the bat, and the bat captures it with its ears. That is, it does the same thing as our eyes. You might think, poor bat, it can't see. But it's the same thing, it's the same process. That's why I tell you that we don't understand what relative truth is, right? What is empathy? Imagine being born in the body of a visually impaired person, or being born in the body of a person, or being born in the body of a bat. It's the same thing. The adaptation is the same. The neuroplasticity results in the same. Do you understand? Your ears send this information to the brain, and it processes the information, showing the bat that it is a square. For the bat, the color doesn't matter much. What it wants is just and to dodge the object or hold on to it so quickly. It makes this movement. And what about rodents? Rodents spend the rest of their lives chewing, right? And as they keep their stomachs always full, they need to urinate to move. Look how interesting. So where there's a rat trail, there's always a trail of urine. In fact, that's why cats find us. Cats can, with their eyes, see the dead cells that we shed on the floor from our skin. A trail of dead cells, we don't notice it, but all the time, there are tiny pieces of our skin falling on the floor, and cats can see this and can track the path where the owner has walked. Now, rats, look, spend their entire lives chewing. They have to urinate, and then, where there's a rat trail or any rodent, there's a trail of urine, and look how God is perfect. Then the falcon can identify the ultraviolet color. God gave him the ability, you see, it's about the owners, right? God gave him the ability of vision, ultraviolet. And with this ultraviolet color, he can see the urine trail that the rat leaves and thus feed himself. Some animals see dark light. And why this whole introduction? All of it? Because now you can understand black light, which is the one we don't see. More than 70% of the universe sees. Jesus appears among them, the students, the disciples. Passing through matter, I ask you how? Because we will have a body, it's not even Wi-Fi, it's Li-Fi. The new connection that's coming, write it down. We will have a Bluetooth body. The blue teeth, remember? Of the king. A body of darkness. But wasn't it supposed to be a body of light? For God, who is dual, white light and black light are the same thing. So this is the duality of God that we must always understand. It is not dualism. The Gnostics understand it as dualism. Two forces at war. And this even ended up entering evangelical churches. The idea of two forces competing for you. But in fact, they are two forces that exist for you to choose. They are not competing. You are the one competing with them within yourself. The war exists within you, not between them. That's the confusion. God is fighting with the devil. God is not fighting with the devil. It's you who are struggling to choose between God or the devil. Remember Leviathan? In the book of Job, which we learned about in the last few classes, what did Leviathan it mean? Dark light and matter, and Lucifer, light and clear matter. And God is in both of these. And before you fear this, Job invoked Leviathan. In his moments of crisis, he said, I invoke Leviathan for the day I was born. So we will have a body that is super material. While we are stuck here in the 1999 movie, The Truman Show, we are the delta, electron, proton, and neutron. Everything is signed in delta. Our I, material, B, existence is made of protons, so electrons, and neutrons. 3, the neutron, for you to have an idea, is composed of 2 down quarks, delta down, and 1 up quark, a delta up. Let me put it here, the up is missing, where it emits an electron, an antineutrino, which converts into a proton. In other words, every neutron dies in 15 minutes. What a life, huh? And how is existence? What a tangle. The neutron dies and positions itself on both sides. Beyond the false polarizations, the body needs both hands. I mean, everything is signed. Look, the neutron dies and positions itself on both sides. What does that mean? All matter is dual, back and forth, left and right. And the body needs both hands. Everything that moves forward needs 2 hands. 2 wings, 2 feet, right? The body doesn't just need one side of the brain, just one eye, just one ear. The body needs both sides to have balance. So only synthesis can command the body. What commands a body? Synthesis. If you walk only to the right, you'll end up going in circles just like the people of Israel, full of ego in Kadesh Barnea in the desert. And they never find the place. The journey, which was supposed to take 40 days, took 40 years. Why? Only to the right. And if you go only to the left, you'll be going in circles for the rest of your life. What makes you move forward? Synthesis, which we call balance. That's why you have to master yourself. You who are right and left, you walk on one side only. God is supra dual, supra scissors. God uses both sides. If you ask Yat to show images of the universe, you will see the Kabbalah in it, for it is the image of the universe. Look at complete images of the universe, not these here. There, here, of galaxies, nebulas, no, complete. Of the 13 billion expanded in a photo, in a video, you will see the image of the Kabbalah in it. Like all the galaxies, look for yourself to see. We are trapped in the square and the triangle in the pyramid. But we will move to the circle, the infinite. How? Reveal it.
In the beginning, there was 0. And 0 was God.
Square and triangle, finite, circle, infinite loop. So we are trapped in matter, time, space, and matter. We are trapped in the square and triangle. What is the base of a pyramid? And we are moving towards the circle 0, the absolute. We revealed many years ago in quantum classes, and today here we review it in a meeting at University X, delving even deeper. That every 33 years of our lives, the lunar and solar crossing occurs. Everything restarts and the positioning of the astral map is the same, of the stellar mapping. What is this? When you turn 33 years old, 66 years old, if you are lucky and take care of your health, 99 years old, you will have the same stellar positioning as when you were born. 30, 60, and 90 degrees until reaching the circle. So we are trapped in a delta of 369. The key to life. For now it is like this. Triangular and quadrangular. Reveal. Scientists said that the origin of the universe is delta. 2, they have already mentioned. The 3rd. Let's talk because I'm going to get vaccinated today. The 1st, they said life, all of it, when you were in school, who remembers? It's a big explosion. The Big Bang. Now they have changed. They said they were wrong. And in fact, the universe didn't explode, it is expanding, which is a great expansion. They regretted the big explosion. Some still use the term, but the correct one would be expansion. And I'm going to teach you today that, in fact, they will still discover sometime by 2040 that it has always been connection. Because everything is connected. All the galaxies. Which leads scientists to come up with new theories about projection, hologram, mirror, where the metaverse projects the universe we see. Do you know why we can't understand infinity? Because we are trapped in the idea of time, space, and matter. Because we think space exists. It seems to exist, but it's our brain sabotaging us, projecting reality. It is inconceivable for us to understand that there is no limit to space. But in fact, space doesn't exist. Space is an illusion to give meaning to existence. But why lose the beauty of wings, of flying saucers, or the edges of the journey? Why lose the beauty of wings? I'll put in parentheses, in quotes, of the flying saucers of the journey. Doesn't immediate transport have
Charm.
Let's talk, right? God could make immediate transport, but why does it have? In flying saucers and chariots of fire? It's the poetry and beauty of going there and coming back. Isn't it? What would be the poetry, the charm, the beauty, which in Kabbalah, one of God's Sephirot is beauty, which are the forms of things. Can you imagine, can we or can we not communicate from 2030 onwards with telepathy? You might be watching me in 2031, 2035. Are you watching this class? 60 and 2035. Can we or can we not communicate through telepathy? But why then? So, did God make the mouth? If we could already communicate through telepathy, should we remove the mouth? Or should we remove the tongue? Let's imagine a future time when we will only nourish ourselves with pills. It's the meaning of life. It's the beauty. Do you see? Buddhists say that time is like a necklace of square beads of matter. What do the Buddhists say? A necklace of square beads of matter. And all of this is projected onto what they call Maya. Write it down, Maya.
It means
illusion. Everything is Solomon's vanity. We just came from the poetic ones. And vanity in the original means emptiness. Emptiness. And emptiness means illusion. Reveal. Never forget what I'm going to say. This year, all the teachers, organizers of philosophy, it's that if you want one day to win people's hearts truly for the truth, you need to learn this and never forget it. Truth in Greek is, everyone writing it down so they don't forget, aletheia, listen well, which means surprise, meaning reality, present, coherence, folks, coherence. Why is it so important never to forget again? Because truth in Greek is aletheia, which means coherence. For this reason, whenever someone asks me again, what truth, since everyone has their own truth, what does Professor Akel respond? The supreme truth, the absolute truth, is coherence. Well, if there are relative truths, there is an absolute truth. Because everything we relativize from the original and true. What derives, derives. What derives, derives. D. What generates, generates. D. What descends, descends from. What comes out, comes out of. Each layer of the shells of ideas comes from an original trunk. Isn't it so? Just today, I was there peeling the bark off the guava tree. And what a dual process, right? It peels to become thicker. But how interesting, wasn't it supposed to create a new bark? But it peels to become thicker. Pythagoras said that the great objective of our body, finite and limited, was to know and manifest the supernatural existence of the finite and the infinite. As everything is connected, You need to connect to the whole to truly do theology, which means knowing God. What is the original theology? To truly understand the Creator and His truth. So is there truth? Sovereign? Of course. If everything is relative, there must be an original truth. That everything descended from something. For the Creator is the I am, and the I am is the Almighty, who is the
Saludo.
Your Bible calls him Adonai, Almighty. The I am, the great I am. For what? Why? Because these are titles of totality where everything is a projection of him. Everything is connected in him. And he is holistic because holistic means the whole. Then there are people who create churches with absurd ideas and religions. Why do religions and churches have absurd ideas? Because they are based on parts of the Bible and not the whole. God is inconceivable. If you do not have the ability to see the holistic, there is only one way to understand God, the whole. The first serpent that introduced duality is the second of Moses, who gave us the cure, Jesus or Christ, lifted on the cross, which is our 8, which is our 0. Do you see? In the beginning it was the 0, and the 0 was God. Let's go then to put up again the image that was sent to me here, which wasn't even in the lesson script, but coincidentally was sent to me. Who taught the serpent to swallow itself? And what does this infinity mean? Why does it do this to itself? So, it represents the Kabbalah, the head and the feet, the tail, the end. Look. Who taught it? Can you put the infinity symbol in the chat there? Paul knew this in Ivirim to the Hebrews 7-11 and revealed that everything here is a copy. In his view, it's a mirror, shadow in his language, shadow, projection of the superior light. Why shadow? Because every shadow is beautiful. Can you imagine if only the shadow existed? If we couldn't see the person, only the shadow. It would be beautiful, right? Thinking about Plato's cave, the shadow is beautiful. But it's something that's on the other side. And so, our life, where we see the shadow, we admire the shadow. But what is projecting this shadow is what truly exists that we haven't seen yet. Think about how beautiful that is. Think about how it is a projection of a superior light. So here is a revelation from the Bible in the quantum vision. Quantum is not physical, it's spiritual. Quantum is synonymous with spirituality. Revelation. In the beginning, there was 0. And 0 was God. So the Old Testament represents the era of the matter. And what is the new contract? Grace represents charis. Antimatter. Shadow. Who remembers that the Old Testament is a shadow? Isn't that right? Electromagnetic energy is a wavelength where it oscillates from a straight line, a vibrating serpent. What do you mean? And now I have an old video that we showed many years ago. Nostalgia. I thought about doing it myself. But I thought, let's leave it like that. Just like that class on infinity many years ago. Recording the story. You can do this on paper and learn to do it to show your family so people understand what it is what the waves of life are.
Hey everyone. Now, I'm going to show you an overview of everything. My goal is to explain how time works, how space works, and how matter works. And starting with a simple condition, which is electromagnetic energy, right? Electromagnetic energy, it is a wavelength that it creates. Look at the speed, right? In a straight line, it oscillates. Well, so here we have its plus and minus. And the longer the wavelength, the faster the electromagnetic energy. The less, the higher the frequency. The higher the frequency, the slower it is. And the shorter the wavelength. See? Understand? Right? And how the frequency can be much higher. Understand? Look, the frequency can be much higher, right? To the point where the time it takes to get from point A to point B is much longer, right? With this frequency here. Okay? Now let's move to the main concept. We have here the initial line of everything. The time of creation, let's say. God went and played the first chord and the first vibration emerged. The first electromagnetic energy, which is a line, very wavy, slightly straight. Hello? And it kept getting more and more wavy. More and more wavy. And becoming wavier. And the time it takes to make its relation. And these lines start to become a barrier, right? Over themselves. And here it creates and the atoms, right? The matter, right? Planet Earth, the moon, the stars, right? The sun, right? People are here in this band of vibration, of frequency here. And so here we have the visible spectrums, right? We have the possible. Here we have the waves, less a smaller issue, just the radio waves, the TV waves, right? And here, the less sinuous until it gets here is what is straight. Now, I will explain to you the matter of space-time. And these lines here from reaching A to reaching B, the speed of the wave is the same for everyone. The speed more. If you travel a straight line, let's say the following, and here, below, our vibration spectrum says to reach until you see the end, we'll see that it takes time. In a million years, 1 million years to go from air to fit 1 million years. And the light arrives. The visible prospect that I placed will arrive from A to B. It's 1,000 years. And the year is seeing because of the frequency, because that here has to do this here. Oh, it's so big that to reach the end, it's 1 million years. Understand? This is our time. Understand? It's our time. This here, oh, is our time. The light. The time for light is different from our time. This even further explained relativity, the light, the time of light, which is also electromagnetic energy, as much as we are. Light is the electromagnetic element, and the wavelength is greater than ours, which is so intense that it created matter. Do you understand? The matter that created us, that gave us our planets, everything we touch is here. Here. No one touches it anymore because the light understood, right? It is. Its vibration is lower than ours, so we don't touch it. It passes through. It is higher up. It starts to be useful for them, which is the case with Wi-Fi, which is the home of 3G, things like that, and end up passing through walls, you understand? Because the wave component is larger, right? So, and we keep going higher. Here we have, in this region here, to reach here from the light. It was 1,000 years, right? Here, to get from it to be. An hour, put an hour, because the wavelength is longer, so the speed is unique, you understand? The speed is unique, right? It undulated less, so it can cover this distance in less time. To get from A to B. 1 minute. 1 second. And here. 0. 0 seconds to get from A to B. Because the speed is so great that you can already see. There is no undulation at all, so it makes no difference. Nothing prevents it, right? To reach B, there is no undulation at all, right? The speed of the undulation here prevents it. So, let's say, the time here is different from the time that's here, you see. So here, while 1,000,000 years have passed, here, 0 has passed, it gave the air up to be 0, so everything that's here has already seen. It has already contemplated everything that's here. We might be living in this period of time here to see until the end, right? And everything has worn out, all the matter that ruined this process. A day, yes, of the dinosaur arriving from us. It was just extinct. It was the day it arrived, the region ended. So everyone up here can visualize everything that's happening here, because for them, time doesn't exist, because here there's no frequency. There is no space, and matter. God passes in matter. And time is exactly the period that matter travels. Space understood when this period reaches 0, there is no longer space, time, or matter, it's 0. From this concept, we understand that since we are matter, at high frequency, we could never touch the immaterial, you understand? That's why it's necessary that we reach death, as death frees us from matter. These UFO sightings, these things that appear in the sky, they are always in the form of light. They are in the form of light because they come from the light, you understand? Here, this region, here are the waves of low frequency. You understand? He created this. Until we can't see what's in B. Why? To see in B, we have to go through all of this here. And the time here is longer than the lifespan of any person or the very existence of matter. Do you understand? The high frequency down here, where are the nodes? And for low frequency, where time means nothing. And who is up here or who is down here? Is down here. The vision is just so small that it can't see anything. You are seeing that, thank you. Can you see anything? This is our time. Now, those who are outside of time, those who are at the top, they will see this here. Are you seeing? They see everything. Understood? They see everything. This is the true all-seeing eye. Understood? Is the eye on top of the pyramid. The all-seeing eye. Yeah. And this here is in the golden America of gold in Mexico. Look at what they found there. Oh, look at everything you see here. Look at the archetype. Look at the wave frequency here. Just look at this line here. Smaller than this one, right? Because A and B mean nothing to those who are here. The path is clear here, not here. The high frequency, then, takes much longer, and look here, it's the same thing. Here. Wisdom of all cultures. And what's incredible is that in North America and South America, here, do you see? It is assumed that there were no elephants, but here, there is a record that, although in North America and Mexico, elephant tusks were found dated to 1,200 years before Christ, you understand? In the Inca periods. And the tendency of the wave, the closer they are to each other, but it will attract the other to itself, you understand? Keeps attracting, you understand? That's the tendency. Because the goal of the wave is to return to being like this here, you understand? It's to return to being like this here. So, goes, right? There is an interaction between this one and this one, where this one wants to join with this one. And the frequency of the earth is higher than that of air or water. But all are in this field here, in this zone a little above ours, for example, the air. So, it creates gravitation, it creates the force of gravity. And to such a point of union of the waves of the electromagnetic spectrum that it reaches this proportion here where there is no difference between above or below, the wave from above with the wave from below, because they all collided, they united. This here is the true black hole, you understand? It's what the black hole does. It's the union, it's the compression of all matter, a frequency so high that it creates a gravitational force of such great mass that today we call it a black hole. And it does this with matter. It returns, it's so dense that there is no longer a loop and it becomes a line, you understand. It becomes a line, the light. The magnetic energy no longer has to loop around because it is all squeezed, so it becomes a line. Down here, it returns to being a line, you understand, from up here. It's what the Indians call a black hole. And white hole, you understand. Are you understanding? And here we understand. It didn't disappear so large, that matter. That matter returns to being, you understand. Here, look. Here we cannot give up on this place, right? Because our frequency here, but we cannot exist because everything is destroyed here. Understand? So this is the black hole and this is the white hole. White, understood. Do the Indians understand this? Long time ago, the matter that becomes so compressed again that it no longer forms a barrier, everything becomes the same line of light, straight like this one here. See?
No audio. Teacher.
In the series Dark, for those who watched it on Netflix, there's exactly this. Example from the professor. Remember when the professor takes a sheet of paper and he gives this exact lesson, and 1899 is a continuation of this understanding. In fact, it's a Jewish, Ashkenazi, German series that reveals these points, all of which only those who love wisdom will grasp. And speaking of Lord of the World, I'm going to connect now. What happens is a person with a more mature mind doesn't need illustrations or a board. At that moment when I said, go to Google and look for the image of the 13 billion-year-old universe, 13.8 billion, and you will see that it is entirely a mare. I didn't show the image. I could have just gone there, grabbed the image, and put it here, but I want you students to go to Google and have the experience of finding images on your own. Now, the student who has an adult, mature mind can visualize things and understand them without needing a drawing. That's why there's that saying that goes, you have to draw it out. There are people who get all fascinated with these drawing things because they still have a developing mind. They still need someone to draw for them to understand. but those who already have a mature mind every time I speak here. Time, space, and matter have already visualized this. When I say that the undulations, frequency, are all serpents, you should have already seen this. But there are people who still have a mind that needs things drawn out. I understand you, we are evolving. But let's go. Let's understand that now I will connect to a very important person who is Nikola Tesla. Another extra biblical lesson now, quantum holographic universe. Nikola Tesla, shall we? Elon Musk's cars are in honor of whom? To Tesla. And coincidentally, who does he govern with? Trump between 2024 and 2028. And Trump's uncle? Coincidences? Coincidences? Coincidences, as this commercial here says, coincidences?
Number 3. In numerology, it influences expression and sensitivity. Egyptian pharaohs, the pyramids, those of the secret society of occultism. The main rock agreements are also first. Lollapalooza Brazil will be in month 3. Days 23, 24, and 25. And adding up, it equals 72. 7 plus 2 equals 9, and 9 divided by 3 equals 3. 3. Coincidence or not, the festival will last 3 days.
Coincidence? 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 There you go. Who is Trump's uncle? John D. Trump, head of the FBI. Head of the FBI. Who investigated Tesla's documents after his death in New York at his home in 1943. Coincidence? Is it connected or not? Or do I have to read the paragraph again? I think it's neat. You just rewind the needle there. Rewind the needle there and watch it again. Just by reading this paragraph I put here. Look, I took it out. Just by reading this paragraph, you already understand a lot, don't you? Or not? What? Is it, miss? We are made of image, but what is it? Image? Isn't it a hologram? Of matter? Of light, which we call matter? Will we be like what of glass? Is that it? Like what of glass? Light is a wave formed by particles called photons. However, photons is the name that man gave. It's the metaphor for what exists. Photons will reflect or absorb. They will absorb according to the new dimension they will interact with. Look here, reflection and absorption continue in the process of light. Just like today, what exists today in terms of lux, the wave of light is a harbinger. It is God speaking of how it will be afterwards. The like matter of the resurrected body of Jesus made it so that when he passed through the wall, the compact atoms of this material plane would space out. It's like when you zoom in on a tablet. They make room for his matter to pass through. But then why did Thomas, when he touched his hands, feel his hands? Why? Putting here his with a capital letter. Because it is a similar matter. And that's how we will be in the kingdom. Don't think it's a ghost, an ectoplasm, a yogurt paste, as it says in the movie Magic in the Moonlight. If you haven't watched it, watch it. We will be the same, but with the appearance of 33 years old. Why did Jesus die at 33? Because that is the appearance of the image we will have. Women won't menstruate? Oh, how wonderful. Men won't have to anymore? The beard, hallelujah. No one will have to cut their nails anymore. And no one will have to do their eyebrows anymore. Isn't it good, isn't it? What a wonderful kingdom, huh? Today, quantum science has discovered that particles move apart, making way for photons, enabling light holograms. When you project something, the particles there already make way for the hologram. Who saw that we put a hologram here in front of the school? And for this reason, spirits and dead men are invisible to human eyes. Material today in realm 7, 8, 9, and 10, as I mentioned in the Paradise series, with a body made of photons. We will have no problems entering stars like the sun, because the acceleration is so great that we do not suffer damage from the heat or light. Can you imagine the wonder of being able to enter the sun and come out unscathed? How about that? Have you ever imagined that probes sent to Venus and Mercury, to the sun, to stay kilometers and kilometers, thousands of kilometers away, never returned, nor were they able to send satisfactory images because they melted? Not us. We will be able to enter any star of any dimension without any problem, without being affected. People say, I have this feeling. A feeling that I came from somewhere. I have to go back home. Where is my home? Where did I leave from? Where did I come from? Had you ever heard people say that? Or have you ever felt that? A strange feeling of having to return somewhere from where you left. And that is why, mainly for this reason, the doctrine of reincarnation is so successful, because it is a way to try to resolve this. But why this feeling inside us that we came from somewhere? Parapsychological, paranormal, and mediumistic phenomena are understood as normal processes of the very structure. Here we are going to call it the informational quantum, holographic, or holographic of the universe. Because our brain is connected to the spiritual cosmos that we know. It is the Garden of Eden or celestial regions.
Reveal.
The cosmos is a hologram. Everything is in everyone, and everyone is in everything. And it is revealed exactly that our brain is connected to a spiritual, living, and supremely intelligent cosmos, which many will call God. The Garden of Eden, from where we came and where we wish to return. That's why we have this feeling that we need to return somewhere. Quantum physics will call it the primordial source of the human being. And what is this primordial source? It is the origin. The origin is the Bereshit. It is the Genesis. We all have this need to return. Our millions and millions of neurons play together a perfect symphony, thus generating the cortical hologram. Let's connect all this to the forces of life. Without electromagnetic force, particles would have no life, no action. They need the electromagnetic force. In fact, there are 4 forces signed by God cubically. The name of God, tetragrammaton Yod, E, Vav, He. Let's see, electromagnetic, nuclear, weak, nuclear, strong, and gravitational. These forces govern the universe. The particles, they form all things. Einstein said, I want to know God's thoughts. The rest are details. When you press the keys of a piano, they strike the strings, causing sound vibrations that mix, creating a wave interference pattern. For example, when you play D, then C, you don't stop the C. The C is vibrating, and as soon as the D is played, it vibrates along with the C. It's the same when you throw a stone into the water. When you throw a stone into the water, what happens? The mixture of sound frequencies creates harmony. And the mixture of mandalas when you throw a stone in the water, isn't that right? We have already talked here about string theory. Who remembers? So as soon as you come into contact with a river, a spring, throw stones, several stones. and notice that the mandalas will intertwine. And this mandala, intertwining with another, when you throw several stones into a river, you will notice that one does not cancel out the other. Nikola Tesla, who was passionate about snooker, I don't know if you know, always played snooker, said, "Our life is like a snooker table, because where energy is born, you have a movement that slows down. The other, a movement, an energy that passes to another. One body transfers energy to another, a movement that ends." I talked about centripetal force. Who remembers? And centrifugal force in the series God and electron. And even if you hit the cue on two balls, and both balls move, they cannot occupy the same space or intertwine. Then, several cycles emerge, mandalas that intertwine, without canceling each other out. They don't cancel each other out, but form a harmonious body of mandalas. Professor, I throw a bunch of stones in the lake. I see a bunch of mandalas intertwining. I throw a bunch of snooker balls on the table. A bunch of snooker balls on the table. At the same time, they hit each other, kinetic energy, and they don't intertwine because they are very dense, because the atoms are very close. What is it? I don't understand where you're going with this. So, look at the maxim. Reveal. Jesus said quantumly, the Father is in me. Got it? The Father is in me because he is the expression that reveals the quantum entanglement of light. Isn't Jesus the light of the world? So, this is how the incarnation of light happens. Now you begin to understand what an incarnation of light is. One mandala inside another. One force within another light over the other. One frequency over another. How wonderful. The magnificence of the matrix, which Tesla based on the Solomonic Masonic knowledge of great empires. The key to the universe. What was the key to the universe for Nikola Tesla? 3, 6, and 9. And everything is like this, triangular, rectangular, cubic. 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees. Even Jesus said, that seed which produces 30, 60, and 90. Its beauty is 100, but in reality, it's 90, 99. This signature of life, the outcome of things, how the cosmos works. We give the honor to Tesla, but in reality, this is found in ancient Egyptian books, ancient Sumerian books, ancient Babylonian books. He just accessed, studied, and brought it to a generation that wasn't studying. Reveal. And to conclude this 60th lesson, understand that the universe is delta. The first cosmos is the cosmos of emanation. The second cosmos is the cosmos of creation. And the third cosmos is the cosmos of formation. It's so interesting because 2 Corinthians 4 talks about the God of this age. In other Bibles, a synonym will be the God of this system of things. In other Bibles, it will be the God of this century. See how time and space are intertwined in the very language. How can century be a system? And how can century be an era? In Greek, it's aeon, which can mean eternity and era. A long time, like the cosmos itself, like the very functioning of the universe. That is to say, the universe is in space and time. So all of this is very beautiful, but we are going to delve even deeper in the 61st lesson. How about that? 1260. missions of the sent emissaries. Because Paul is saying the following: when the Lamb unsealed the picture, there is no rapture here. Here we have Mars.